all the many good morning, everybody. So what is your first name? Is it? Because you have just changed it. Okay. Right. Okay. All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, everybody. It's so nice to be here. I think before I start, I would like to show my gratitude to CPS, Center for Postgraduate Studies, for inviting me to attend this particular session. How many minutes do I have? 1 hour. Okay, so 11. Okay, about 11:15 now. Okay, right. To be honest with you, I think this is the first time I have been invited to explain on the policies related to the involvement of students in research. I think before I proceed, I would like to mention that currently I am the Deputy Director at the Research Management Center, okay, where we handle the grants, the different grants that that have been secured by our lecturers, by the academicians. But prior to being the Deputy Director at the RMC, I was at the Center for Postgraduate Studies. I was the Deputy Dean at the Postgraduate Studies for about 5 years. Then I moved on to RMC. So when I was at CPS, I dealt with issues pertaining to student studies and relationship with supervisors, okay? The study period, blah, 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 blah. Then when I went to RMC, I learned about how research is being done and how to manage research and the policies related to research. But I also realized the importance of that, when you have students as your helping you. For me, for example, I have my postgraduate students helping me with my research. Then I realized that even though you're doing your research, you can't actually run away from that supervisor-supervisee relationship. I will explain further later, okay? So it goes together. You can't do your research without your students. In other words, that's what it is. And for students, it would be good to have your researchers, your lecturers as researchers, because that will help you as well. Okay? All right. So I hope those of you online can hear me clearly. All right. Can they hear me? All right. Okay. Good. Okay, and this is the first time I'm doing it hybrid. Okay, right. So basically, all right. My talk today for this 1 hour, okay, will cover 3 things. Okay, and I want you to pay close attention, okay, to what I'm gonna say. All right. So the first one is on the types of involvement. How can you be involved in a research? And to what extent, okay? Number 2, requirements of GRA, Graduate Research Assistant, okay? And number 3, information on the vacancy. Where can you get information on the vacant posts for GREs? Okay, all right, so these are the 3 main things that I'm going to cover today. Okay, number 1 is regarding the types of involvement. I know that, the fact that when CPS informed me that they have been receiving requests from postgraduate students, right, in terms of some information on how students can get involved in research, to me, I think this is a good thing, okay? This is a good signal that students do want to get involved in the research that are being carried out by various researchers in the universities, in this university, I think that's really a good thing, a good sign. Okay, but again, you need to know, to what extent your involvement should be or could be. In what way can you support, okay, the researchers in this university? I think having a clear mind on that is very important. Okay, so the first kind of involvement is to become a graduate research assistant, GRA. Okay, GRA. I'll be using a lot of this GRA thingy during my presentation today. And the second one is research assistant, RA. Okay, right? And I want you to understand this clearly, all right, in terms of what constitutes GRA and what constitutes research assistant, because they are not the same. And to be honest to you, even some researchers are still confused. All right, but I hope you are clear. I hope you are clear in terms of GRA and RA and the payment and the kind of responsibilities that come with it. Yeah, right. So requirements of a GRA. Okay, now firstly, let us look at the definition of a GRA. What is a GRA? Graduate Research Assistant. And this one is taken from Guidelines on Appointment of GRA. We do have a guideline in 2018. Okay, I helped to establish these guidelines. Okay, so let's look at the definition. GRA refers to a local or international student who is enrolled in the university postgraduate degree programs. Okay, full-time or part-time. You may be doing it full-time or part-time, right? On active status. Now, this is very important. If you want to become a GRA, you have to ensure that your status as a student in the university is active. You cannot be under termination. You cannot be under terminated. You cannot be under thesis examine, for example. Thesis examine, that means you have already submitted your thesis, right? And now you are in the process of doing your correction. Okay, because you have to understand that your candidature, I repeat, your candidature as a student of the university ends, okay, the moment that you submit your thesis for examination. It ends there. The supervisory task, okay, that relationship between you and your supervisor ends there. Thesis examination. So during thesis examination, students cannot be a GRA, cannot be appointed as a GRA. Okay, so you have to make sure and know, like for example, financial, backlog or something like that. Okay, or financial problems. Okay, you cannot have those kind of status. It needs to be active. Okay, right, and then he or she is officially appointed to assist in a specific research project as determined by the principal researcher. Okay, which includes conducting research, gathering information, collecting data, composing literature review, and managing research equipment. And of course, the list goes on. Okay, these are not just the mere things that you do. There may be more things that you have to do depending on the kind of agreement that you have made with the researcher. Okay, so let's look at GRA. This is, I'm trying to show you the differences between GRA and RA, and this one here is GRA. Okay, right. Now, for GRA, Graduate Research Assistant, the name is GRA, graduate. So it means that the person needs to be a postgraduate student, whether you're doing a master's or a PhD. And this refers to all of you here today, right? Okay. And throughout the duration of the project, okay, so that means your appointment as a GRA, all right, can take place throughout the research project. the research project. Okay, example. The normal period for a research can be 2 years or 3 years, right? So if let's say you are doing your master's, okay, all right, and you have been appointed to be the GRA for a research that should take place for 2 years, that will be sufficient because your GOT, this has got to do with your GOT as well, right? Because your GOT is 2 years for masters, right? So it's just nice. You complete your thesis, all right? And at the same time, you are able to complete the tasks that have been given to you by the principal researcher, or I will call PI, principal investigator, PI. Okay, all right? So that's just nice. So the duration is aligned, all right, with your study period. Whereas for PhD, your GOT is 3 years. The GOT is 3 years. Okay, so that means, all right, if you are involved in a research where the duration of that research is 2 years, okay, so that means that there will be a year where you basically not attached to that particular grant or research. Do you understand me? Okay, so there will be a year where you won't, for example, if you get your payment, where you usually get your payment, you won't get your payment for the last final year of your studies. However, if the PI extends the duration of the grant, okay, then it will be like 3 years for PhD, your studies, and 3 years for the grant period. So that would just, you know, wraps up everything nicely. Okay, and now this one here, okay, here I put here output of the project. Okay, it's like this, huh? When I say output of the project, what I'm saying here is that I am referring to the grants given by Ministry of Higher Education. I am referring to, I repeat it, I'm referring to grants, okay, where the funder is the Ministry of Higher Education. For Ministry of Higher Education, okay, for the research from MOHE, Ministry of Higher Education, one of the required output from that grant is that the researcher, PI, needs to produce talent, needs to prove that I have guided this master student, I have guided this PhD student. You understand? Up till the point where this student graduates. So that will be, GRA will be considered as an output. That's GRA. You understand? And because you are going to be the talent output for the grant, you will get payment. You will be paid under salary and wages, both 11,000. This one, the principal researcher needs to know which vote. You don't need to know. Okay, but the vote comes from 11,000. And what is the amount, the current amount now? For master student, and this one here is the rate for grants given by Ministry of Higher Education, okay? This is the latest amount. For masters, it is 2,000 ringgit per month. For PhD, it is 2,500 ringgit per month. You're clear on this, eh? Okay? So GRA, all right, is actually for students who you get attached to a grant, and normally you will be considered as an output of that grant. That's GRA. And you will be paid salary, monthly salary. Okay, all right. Now, what I want to caution you is that, okay, based on my conversation with researchers, okay, now they have, when they write their proposal in the budget, when they are budgeting for the grant, the total grant amount, yeah, they have already budgeted for the payment of the students, be it master or PhD. They have already budgeted. Okay, so let's say, for example, for the first, they will just mention, for example, like 1 month 2,000 for master student. 1 month 2,000. So 2,000 times 24 months, because the grant runs for 2 years. Okay, so they will have that 48,000 total. Yeah. Okay. Now some researchers, they come and tell me that, okay, Dr. Adlina, the thing is this. When I want to appoint, all right, a particular student as my GRA, I don't know this person yet because this person is new, like all of you here. You're all new students, right? Okay, so it's like, you know, that you have not created that rapport with the principal investigator. You have not actually gained the trust. You have not actually shown your capability. So this, I mean, this principal researcher, he or she will feel that, you know, I don't think I'm going to pay. I mean, during the first 3 months, I'm not going to pay 2,000 straight away because I don't know whether that person can deliver or not. And that is something that you need to understand. Okay, even though I'm telling you today that the maximum amount for master is 2,000, you cannot demand to be paid 2,000 as the max during the first 3 months of your working with this PI. Okay, because you need to prove yourself that I'm worthy to be paid more than just what you're paying now. Because some of them, they may be paying, for example, 1,500 at the very beginning, right? And then you show them that I can do more, I can really support you, I can really help you in your research. And then they won't have any problem in giving you 2,000 after that. Can you get what I'm trying to say here? Right. So you should remember that. You should remember that, yeah? Okay. Next. Okay, oh no, sorry. Okay, this one here. Okay, so this is like an infographic, a bit of an infographic of what GRA is. Okay, I can't really see the thing. Okay, so let's look at number one. Number one, eligibility. So this is for GRA, graduate research assistant. So eligibility, okay, Malaysian and international postgraduate, MA or PhD student on active status, as I pointed out just now. So remember that, okay? You got to make sure your status is active. Some students, the problem is, you know, they are, the status can be, what is it? Study leave. You're on study leave and yet you want to be the GRA. How could that be, right? So it doesn't work that way. All right. So that's number one. So take note of that. Okay. This one here, number two, people, very important. Supervisors. Your supervisors. Who should your supervisors be? Okay. Who should your supervisors be? Now, your supervisors. Okay, it's like this. According to the guidelines for the grants, the supervisor, your supervisors should be the principal investigator in that grant, okay, or the co-investigator in that grant, in that particular grant. In other words, okay, what you need to do is you need to find out, okay, who are the lecturers in your kuliah who have already secured grants, right? And you need to know their team members, because then you can be the GRA for the principal investigator, that means the team leader, or any of the co-researchers in that team. Then only you can be appointed properly and get paid that amount just now, 2,000 or 2,500. Do you understand me? You need not, meaning to say your supervisors need not just be the PI of the grant, even the team member, the co-researchers, okay, who may come from the same kuliah, can also be your supervisor. Do you get me? Okay, then see also here, principal investigator or the co-researchers. And then mode of study, it should be research mode. For GRA, okay, research mode and be related to the research project, your thesis. Your thesis, you have to ensure that they are related to the grant. To the grant. And this is particularly very important when you talk about grants funded by Ministry of Higher Education. They are very, very particular on this. Okay, because you see, it's like this. Let's say, for example, I have a grant. All right, and my grant in my proposal, I have already mentioned that I'm going to do A. My scope of research is A, right? And the title of my grant is A. All right. So when I appoint a GRA, before I can appoint her or him, I have to ask him or her, are you willing to work with me in this project where I have been able to secure this amount of grant? Because why? Because your thesis must be in the same scope of my grant. Okay, if the scope is A, your thesis must be A. It cannot be my scope is A, your thesis is on B. No way. Do you get me? Okay, that's number one. Number two, for your when you want to, if you were to graduate, one of the requirements is that you need to publish. Am I right? You need to publish that certain minimum number of articles, right? That you have to publish in index journals and all that, right? Now, those publications must be related to the grant, must be related to your thesis. Yes, because most grants, I'm telling you here, most grants, doesn't matter whether it is ministry's grant or internal grant or whatever, okay? They will always require publication output. Publication output. Just now I mentioned about talent output for ministry's grant, right? But all other grants, okay, outside funder or inside funder or whatever, another requirement that they want is publication. So again, your publication must also be related to the scope of the grant and the scope of your thesis. Can you understand me or not? It cannot be totally different. If it does, reject. I will reject. Because it's not related at all. Okay, understand it? Okay, good. All right. Next one, number 4, application. How can you make the application? It is online. Application to be the GRA. I'm talking about the GRA here. Okay, we don't use form, but we use system. Okay, and that system is called RMSV2. Your researchers, I mean your lecturers, okay, your potential supervisors, okay, they should, well, if they are really prominent researchers, they should be well versed with RMSV2 by now. Because brothers and sisters, when I give talks on grants, I'm not just giving to students. I have also been giving to researchers and how to use RMSV2. Okay, so they should be well aware. So it's here, and I will also explain to you afterwards. Okay, how to go about this. Okay, right. Number 5, duration. Okay, minimum duration of appointment. This one is for MOHE grants, for Ministry of Higher Education grants. Okay, only this number 5 is only for Ministry of Higher Education's grant. Okay, why I'm saying that? Why am I always mentioning about Ministry of Higher Education grant? Because especially FRGS, we're talking about FRGS, fundamental research grants. Okay, because every year, quite a number of our researchers in the university, they manage to secure this grant, fundamental research grant. Okay, where they want students, they need students to help them with the research. Okay, so that is why I'm telling you, according to MOHE Ministry, the minimum duration of appointment, which means that, okay, if you work with this particular researcher, you have to ensure that the minimum duration that you work with the person is 12 months. Minimum 12 months. Maximum, depending on the grant, 2 years maybe. Okay, but minimum 12 months. Then only you can be considered as an output of the grant. Remember I mentioned just now the output, because for MUHE grants they require output for talent. So you are the talent. So let's say for example, I have a student, okay, one Nur Fasiha. So in my grant, I can declare that she is my talent output because she has already fulfilled 2 years of coaching under me. I have supervised her, okay, and she has done this grant with me together. So this for MUHE grants only, not other grants. Okay, maximum here I mentioned it already, and vote of salary is 11K. Okay, and then contract, and okay, this one is actually for number the type of appointment, contract. Okay, you are considered as contract. Because why? Because here is salary. Salary doesn't mean that you are a staff of the university. You are just considered as contract. The contract binding for that particular period. Yeah, okay. So contract basis, and the extension of appointment is allowed if the project is still active. Okay, so which means that, okay, for example, you can, let's say, I give you this, what I mean is this. Let's say the grant is supposed to finish after 2 years. Okay, after 2 years, the grant should finish. Okay, but then no, it didn't finish. Let's say the PI requests for another 6 months extension. Okay, and if let's say at that time you have not completed your studies yet, your status is still active, you can still be appointed, continue as the GRA for the project, as long as your candidature, okay, you are within the study period, okay, and you are still active. Do you understand me? So the grant must be active, you must be active. It is as simple as that. Okay, the grant is active, you are active, so your appointment as GRA will go on. Okay, so it works like that, yeah? Okay. Next, okay, application procedure. Just now we talked about RMSB2, yeah? This one here, online, okay? So what is the procedure? This is the procedure. Okay, so the application can be made via the system, okay? But you need to upload, it's not you, it's your principal investigator. You cannot access RMSB2, only the staff can access. So some researchers, they're not well aware of what to give, what to not give, and all the stuff, okay? So now, today, you get this knowledge, you tell the person, okay, Prof, Dr. Adlina mentioned that these are the things you have to submit on RMSB2. Your job to provide the documents to the principal investigator, okay? Because you cannot upload for them. So, photocopy of your identity card or passport, photocopy of admission into the university of a letter, photocopy of IUM metric card, and a photocopy of bank passbook, your bank book. Another thing I want to add, if let's say, all right, you have already come into an agreement with a particular principal researcher that I will be working under you, Prof, right? So it's agreeable between the two of you. So what you need to do is, if you have not done so, you need to go to the finance student division. You need to register your bank account number with finance student division. That is another thing you have to do. Understand? you need to register your bank account number. Why am I saying that? Because okay, example, I am going to appoint, okay, a student as my GRA. I go into the system, RMSB2, I put their appointment for 3 months, okay? So if the documents are all okay, then she or he will be getting the monthly allowance, okay, of 2,000 or whatever, 1,008 or whatever, for the next 3 months. Automatically, it will bank into her account. You get what I'm saying? So it's not, the money will not come to the principal researcher. The money will go straight into the account of the student. So that is why for us to do that, you need to make sure you register your bank account with the university, because it will go straight. Can you follow me? Okay, this is what I mean. Relationship between principal researcher and the GRA is very much linked to the relationship between the supervisor and supervisee. Because what I'm talking to you here, all right, is this. Creating that relationship, right, between you as a GRA and the principal investigator or the researcher, okay? However, I also would like to remind you the important fact that there is another relationship that you must also be careful and be cautious. And that is the relationship between you and your supervisor. Because I'm telling you, if your relationship with your supervisor fails, automatically your relationship, okay, as PI and GRA will fail. I have seen a lot. I have seen a lot of that happening in the university. Okay, all right. That is why I say it's very important that you create that trust and you listen to the PI and you know, have a good working relationship. I think that's the most important thing. You need to have a healthy, good working relationship with your supervisor. And automatically, the other kind of relationship related to the research and the grant will go smoothly, inshallah. I want to share with you an experience I had, okay, quite some time back, okay. It was about this case that I had to handle, okay, and this particular researcher secured a grant from the Ministry of Higher Education, okay, and this researcher was from a particular kuliah in this university. So this case I still remember today because that was the first case I had to handle when I joined RMC. Okay, so the issue is this: this researcher, after 1.5 years, okay, of the grant period, was not able to complete the grant, was not able to complete the research, was not able. So I interviewed him. I asked him, can you please tell me what was your problem? What are the issues that you face? So he informed us that, okay, he had a problem with his supervisee. You get you understand now? He actually had a problem with his supervisee. The relationship didn't go well after 1.5 years. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We thought that the problem will always begin, you know, will always begin at the early stage of the relationship. No. This one happened like 1.5 years after you have that relationship. It's like a failed marriage, you know. Let me put it that way. It's like a failed marriage, you know. You get into this marriage and you thought that you can get along well, but eventually you're just like, divorce, to put it plainly, right? So that was what happened to this particular researcher. Unfortunately for him, the problem was that he trusted the GRA too much, and he sort of like let go. For example, like he asked this person to do the data and all that. He never checked. Where's the data. For example, like for me, if when I appoint a GRA, I want to see, okay, what do you get? Can you please share with me? The output. What I want to see all that. But he didn't actually do that, and he sort of trusted this guy, all right, or this girl, with the data. The data was with the GRA. The data was never shared with the researcher. So what happened was, because of the relationship, this one, supervisor and supervisee, they like divorced. So the GRA remarried with another supervisor in the same kuliah and took the data. You get what I'm saying here? And took the data that he or she collected for the researcher and did that as the thesis. Very unethical, isn't it? To me, that GRA was very, very, very unethical, because the GRA was actually paid by the grant, paid by that particular researcher. If you cannot work well with the researcher, you should be ethical enough, you should have the integrity to return everything, all other information related to that grant. You should not run away with the whole data and create another relationship with another researcher in the same kuliah. Can you just imagine what would happen? The relationship between researcher one and researcher and the new supervisor. Do you think they will be on speaking terms? Just because of that GRA. Can you see what I'm saying here? Okay, this is real human issue, real human problem. Okay, and because of that, that researcher, the first one, the one who got the grant, he was blacklisted by Ministry of Higher Education from getting any more grants. You see what I'm saying? So that is why, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, your relationship as a supervisor-supervisee is so crucial, because that will actually determine, all right, the success or the failure of this research project. So you need to be sincere from day one. Are you willing to work with the person? I know, some of us, it's okay, doctor, I'm willing to do anything as long as you pay me 2,000 per month. Please. We're not, money is second issue. The first issue is your thesis, is your studies. Are you just going to waste your time in this university for 2 or 3 years and not get nothing out of it? Not happy about it? You want to make your supervisor as happy as you are. Do you know how it felt when you see your student getting the scroll on the stage? You felt so proud, not of yourself, but the kind of relationship that you have had with your student. I've faced that a lot. I mean, I've seen that a lot with my students when they graduate, and I feel so happy for them, the sacrifices that they have made. So my point is, create healthy working relationship with your supervisors, please. Okay, right. Now, of course, I also want to mention about termination. In what instance can you be terminated? Okay, in a particular research project, I think you need to be aware of this as well. The first one is if you fail to progress or perform satisfactorily or proceed regularly and diligently with the requirement of the project research. If you fail to progress, no progress. You are being paid 3 months, 6,000, no nothing. Because you see, I want you to understand this, brothers and sisters. When we talk about research project, okay, for example, let's say a research project of 2 years, Now, when we write proposals for whichever funder, we will already spell out, okay, from this month to this month, these are the research activities that should happen. Okay, from this month to this month, we have what we call milestone. We have research milestone. And the same should go with you. You have your own milestone, right, for your studies. Okay, this part, literature review. After that, what other things? You need to have that. I don't know, maybe you call it Gantt chart. Allahu Alam, but for us in research, we call it milestone. Because we want to know whether we are on track or not. Because for us, when we get grants, you know, it's like, it's not play thing. This is something serious, because at the end of the day, we have to report to our funder. It's not a play thing. For you, maybe like, relax lah, doctor. No. For us, when we do research, we are very serious about that. Because we have deadlines, or else we are dead. Because why? Because we also need to gain the trust from our funder that, look, you give me this much, 100,000, I can deliver. We have that onus, you see, because we have to keep our integrity. So that is why, brothers and sisters, we need your help. We need your help to make sure, to help us. Because at the end of the day, you are also gaining a lot of knowledge as well as being successful in your studies. Yeah? Okay. Next. Supplies false or fraudulent information or documents to RMC. Okay, this is about integrity. Okay, all right. Okay, don't do that. Okay. Next. I mean, even if, okay, let me tell you this. When we talk about integrity, let's say, for example, na'uzubillah, I hope it will not happen. Let's say you know that your researcher, your PI, who is paying you, is not doing something correct. Is not doing something correct. Okay, you should advise the PI, sir, Prof, I don't think this is correct. From what I know, it should be like this. You should advise. Okay, you should advise. I have come across a lot of cases, unfortunately. Right? But of course, for me, I will just tell the person, it doesn't matter you're a professor or whatnot. If you're wrong, you're wrong. That's it. Okay. But you also can do that. You can also advise, Prof, I don't think this is correct. I don't think we should do this. Because sometimes, you know, in Islam, we are supposed to always remind one another. Okay, so you can also do that. No worries. Okay, next. Misuse of the grant provider. Misuse. Okay, of the grant provider. Okay. Let's say the researcher gave you the money to go and buy I don't know, research supplies or whatever, but instead, you know, you use the money for something else, for example. Okay, so of course that is very dishonest, and breaches any other obligations as deemed not to be material to university. So for example, like maybe you as a GRA and the student of the university, you get involved in something outside the university, which is deemed very serious. Okay, that can also lead to the termination of you as a GRE. So it's like this. Once you are, in other words, once you are the student of the International Islamic University Malaysia, you must always uphold your integrity, all right? And your amanah as the student, as the researcher, as a, you know, and everything else, supervisee and all that. You must always remember. Okay, right. Next. Okay. After what all those things, if we see all those things are correct, then we will cease payment. Then we will stop the payment in the system. Okay, so that's what we will do. And there might be a point where we may require the GRA to pay back the money spent. Okay, if you are found to breach any of those things just now. Yeah, okay. So please, we don't want to do that. We don't want to request the money. Please return the money. You have been paid 10,000 for nothing. What have you been doing? Okay, we don't want to do that. Yeah. Okay. Now, so just now it's all about GRA, where you get salary payment. Okay. Now it's RA, research assistant. What is the meaning of research assistant? Okay. So alternatively, you can also become the research assistant in a particular project. But what I can tell you is this. One big difference is that as a research assistant, you're not tied to the fact that you are the output of that grant. Meaning, there are many grants out there which actually do not require output for talent. Output for talent is only for grants funded by Ministry of Higher Education, because they have the agenda of this human resource, supply of human resource, of a knowledgeable society, blah, blah, blah. So they have that agenda, okay? But actually, all other funders, okay? MCMC, what else? Mostly, they don't have all this talent output, okay? So this is why we call research assistant. Okay, let's look at what it means. Okay, research assistant, look here. For research assistant post, it could be post. I can appoint you, postgraduate student. I can also appoint my undergraduate student as research assistant. That is the big difference. Follow? Right. Short-term services. Short-term services. GRA, you must be appointed. The best would be during the whole duration of the grant. Remember? If the grant is 2 years, 2 years. Good. If the grant is 3 years, 3 years. Good. Right? GRA. But RA, short-term. Example. During my recent research, okay, I need to interview 20 people. I managed to secure a grant, 6 months grant. Very intensive, very fast. I have to do it very fast. I have to interview 20 people. And what I had to do, I had to train 20 RAs to interview. Okay, these 20 people, I prepare everything, all the questions, blah, blah, blah. I train them, I brief them, 20 people. And these 20 people, a few of them, they were postgraduate students plus my undergraduate students. You understand me? So I bring them together, okay, and then I brief them, I tell them, So they go out, they are like my soldiers lah. In other words, I'm building my army, you see. So they're the soldiers, they go out, they meet these people, they interview, they collect the data, Then they will transcribe the interview, and for all these things that they do, go out and interview, transcription, all that I pay them. So that's why I said short-term services. And I give them, for example, because it is a very intensive grant, I need to finish very fast, 6 months, I give them maximum 3 weeks. So short term, 3 weeks. They must go out, interview, record the interview, transcribe, and bring it back to me. You give me all this, I pay you. And of course, before that, I must come into an agreement with them. Brother, sister, if you do this for me, you will be paid this amount. Do you agree or not? Like akad, you know akad. You have an akad with them, so that later on there won't be any issues. You understand me? Okay, so after that I pay, and payment prompt. I'm that sort of person. I'm not like okay, wait another 3 months then I pay you. No. You give me, I pay. You give me, I pay. You just give me the your bank account. I'll pay you. That's me. Okay. So that is what I mean by short term. And the nature, if you notice, the nature of the job between GRA and RA might be the same. Because sometimes some researchers, they will ask you, okay, I want you to help me with literature review. Can you go to the library and get me materials on blah, 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 or go on the internet, get me and then read up and do this. You understand me? Okay, so the nature of the job might be the same. But in terms of the duration of appointment, normally it's shorter. You won't get paid for 1 year. No way. Okay, so it's like this. It's like freelance. Research assistant is like freelancing. Anis, I need your help. For this one, I need you to do this. Okay, Done, pay. Okay, and then 2-3 months down the road, okay, I have another grant. Anis, you understand it? So I call her again because I trust her already, right? So it can be like that. Research assistant is like freelancing. Okay, all right. Payment, you see, payment vote is different. 2-9. You don't need to know this, but the researcher needs to know. But I'm telling you, all right, this one is under professional service. Just now, GRA is under salary and wages, remember? So that is why GRA payment will go straight into your bank book because you put it, you need to register yourself as GRA on RMSB2. RA, no RMSB2. No need. You are not being registered in the system. No one knows about you, Paul, if you are an RA. You understand? No one knows. So that is why, no, the thing is this. Okay, I will explain later. Why no one knows? Why no one knows? Okay, right. And the effect of it. Okay, I'm not going to say it now. But you are paid as honorarium. Honorarium, yeah? Okay. So next, responsibilities of GRA and RA. Okay. So basically, you will be doing all this, okay, conducting research as determined by the principal researcher, for example, gathering information, collecting data, composing literature review, blah, 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 and the list can go on. Now, another thing is, ensure the confidentiality of the data that you have gathered during the research project. That is very, very important. Because why? Because you have been given the trust by the researcher and the team members to assist them with the research. Okay? And if let's say you found something, brothers and sisters, why I'm saying this, I want you to understand that some or a few of our researchers in this university, their research scope is very very important, very significant, but at the same time, it's a kind of a taboo. Not taboo, but very sensitive. They are dealing with number one, they are dealing with sensitive data. Number two, they are dealing with sensitive topic. Example like LGBT. Okay, we do have researchers who are really going all out, okay, on this LGBT issue. So his research, he is in Kuantan, his research has got to do with all this, the LGBTs and all these things. Okay, so you see, very sensitive information. So if let's say you are helping this person and then you found something, wow, something that wow, I never thought of this, and then you put everything on your Instagram, on your Facebook. Nowadays, everything is so easy, right? You snap a picture, bam. Don't you ever do that, because if you do that, we will get legal to go after you. No, seriously. And another thing I want you to understand is that if you are appointed as a RA or GRA, there is NDA, non-disclosure, okay, non-disclosure form that you have to sign, where you have to agree and say that I will ensure that this information will remain confidential. Okay, so please take note of that. Very important. Okay, now I want to ask you this question. Can you be appointed as a GRA for a few projects at one time? GRA, we're talking about GRA, salary. So it's like, oh, I think this is a pot of gold. All right, I can become the GRA for this research, so I get 2,000, next one 2,000. So, well, a month I can get 10,000 for 5 research. Can you do that? Is it ethical to do that in the first place? Who thinks it's okay? Who thinks it's okay? I'm talking about GRA. Can you logically thinking, can you actually do that? Is it possible? Come on. Or maybe someone online, maybe someone wants to answer. I don't know. That's one thing with hybrid, you know, less of interaction, which I really hate. What do you guys think? Logically speaking, can you actually become the GRA and get paid from 5 projects? It's not possible. Why is it not possible? Logically speaking.
Because it's your thesis.
Yes, because it's actually related to your thesis. So what are you trying to do? You're going to have like what? 5 supervisors and 5 different titles of your thesis? Who are you?
Become Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. One person will become Dr. Jekyll, another person become Mr. Hyde.
Only 2. I'm asking about 5 projects. Jekyll, Hyde, Simon.
Sherlock, Watson, could be anyone for ourselves.
It's impossible. It's impossible. Okay. According to the regulation, no. You only stick to 1 grant and 1 project and focus that, because you know your studies. How long are you for your masters?
2 years.
2 years, right? 2 years. Just focus on that. We are not superhumans. All right. PhD 3 years, if you're lucky. GOT. Right. Okay. Next question. Can you be appointed? Okay, as an RA for a few projects. RA for a few projects. RA. I want you to, because I think if you can answer, I think you understand the concept. As RA.
Possible.
Yes.
RA, no problem. Okay? Because, okay, I have to admit, some students, okay, this is another thing. If you want to, for me as a researcher, you know, I will always look for students who are really good, for example, in Adlina, in all this statistical analysis, or because brothers and sisters, for us researchers, okay, we have tons of responsibilities. Okay, example, for me, I am academic administrator. So it's like half of my brain is in academia and the other half is in administration. Okay, I have to deal with kementerian and all this thing, half. So when I do my research, okay, if I were to do everything, data collection I have to do, I have to interview, I don't get students, and then I have to analyze using Adlina and all that, I think I will be dead. You get what I'm saying here? So that is why I do really appreciate, I mean, I'm just giving you a hint or a clue that what you should do, brothers and sisters, is to equip yourself with different types of analysis. Okay? Make sure you're really good at it. You're really good at it so that, for example, like for me now, when I know of certain students are really good, then when my friends from other kuliah, they come and, hey, Adlina, do you know who can do this? Okay, yeah, you should contact, like recommendation, you know? You can always recommend, yeah, I think this person, fantastic. Very fast work, you know, that kind of thing. So you want that word of mouth. So that's when you can be appointed as RA for a few projects, and that's your pocket money. Freelancing, kan? But in order for you to do that, you must ask yourself, what am I good at? What is my skill? What is my skill that I want to market? You should think about it. Okay? All right. Next. So yes, you can as RA. Okay. And then another one, can a GRA be appointed beyond the expiry date of the grant? Beyond the expiry date of the grant. What do you think? Grant for 2 years. Okay? So can you still be appointed in the third year? No. No. Because brothers and sisters, when the grant expires, it means that the researcher, the PI, cannot use the money anymore. So you cannot be paid anymore. Okay? Right. So cannot. Okay, next, information. Okay, so last one, last part. Where can you get the information on the vacancy? Okay, how would you know?
Facebook.
Yeah, betul brother. Facebook. However, another place that I want to share with you is the RMC website. This is another place that you can go to. Yeah, the RMC website, our website. When you come to the website, okay, you look on the left column, okay, try and find this GRA job opportunity here. I cannot snip it, it's too further down. Okay, so you click on that GRA job opportunity, you come to this page. And then here you will have a list, long list of GRA vacancies. Okay, because we inform our researchers that if you need help to get GRA, give us the information. Come up with the, a simple infographic like this. All right, give it to us. We will share on our website. Alternatively, you can also contact the Office of Deputy Dean Postgraduate Studies. Okay, because each kuliah will have this office. Okay, and they should have the list of researchers or list of academicians in the kuliah which has secured grants. So they can tell you, okay, these are the people. Okay, all right. And alternatively, like what our brother mentioned just now, okay, some researchers, okay, this one I have to admit, some of my friends, okay, they also inform me that when they are informing people of this vacant post, okay, for them, they will use WhatsApp, they will use Instagram, they will use Facebook, and all other social media means to get students. Okay, so it's like this, brothers and sisters. What I can see is that you want to give your support and assist researchers, and I have to admit to you that researchers are also in need of you. They are in need of you. They're in need of your help. Okay, so why don't you make it a win-win situation for both parties? Okay, all right, that's it. Thank you, and all the best to you in your studies. And I do really hope that I hope all of you can be GRAs for a research by your supervisor, inshallah. Okay, right, now I take questions. Are there questions in the chat box? Or do you have questions that you want to ask me? Yes, brother. Can you please give your name and which kuliah? And then post the question.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Shahmi. I'm a master student in communications under IKSS.
Oh, okay. Communication, okay. Department of Communication, okay.
So my question is regarding the GRA.
Yeah.
So maybe doctors know that in my departments, for masters, they don't have a full research mode. So it's only have coursework and also mixed modes. So for me myself, I'm doing mixed mode. So is it possible for me to be appointed as GRA? So that is the first question. And then for GRA also, you says that we have to like working with the PI and also the supervisors. So let's say that we are students, so maybe we want to have an extra pocket money. So they're doing a lot of work, doing food pandas, doing other jobs. And do you think that it is acceptable for the students to do that, to become a GRA and also to do the other works as well, right? And just for me, my case, I'm doing a freelance on TV3 also as a reporter freelancer. So is it okay?
No wonder you're wearing the jacket.
Yeah.
TV3 jacket. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Get that from?
Right now I'm doing TV3 as a reporter.
Okay.
So is it possible for me to become a GRA as well? And also, okay, regarding also with the GRAs, you says that we have to give our bank book. Right. So right now, a new students, they have a new card. Right? So the new card is actually a bank card. It's from RHB Bank. So is it sufficient for us to just open the RHB Bank account just using our new metric cards? Okay, so that's all. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Brother Shahmi, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try to answer that. Okay, I think the first question is between this full-time full-time and mixed mode. Okay, full-time and mixed mode. Okay. Now, for the GRA post, okay, the one that for the grants funded by Ministry of Higher Education, okay, in their guidelines, because they also have their guidelines, they clearly state that, okay, to become a GRA, the student must be doing full research, okay, and full-time, full research and full-time, okay, that is their guideline. Okay, there might, okay, there might, and regarding mixed mode, okay, in the guideline it is stated that for mixed mode students, okay, you will not be considered as an output. Even okay, let me clarify that. Even for mixed mode meaning coursework plus small thesis, right? Coursework plus small thesis, okay. There's, okay, number one, the condition is that this mixed mode course must have 70% thesis, 30% coursework. Then only you can be appointed. But even then, your appointment, okay, your appointment will not be considered as the output of the grant, but it will be considered as additional output for the grant, which means that if I were the researcher, if I were the principal investigator, what I will do is I will need to search for full-time, full research student so that the person can be my output. Okay, because that is the consideration by Kementerian. Okay, so if let's say I have already appointed this student full-time, full research for 1 year, minimum, 1 year, then I stop. Maybe because I don't know, maybe the student doesn't need the money anymore, whatever, for whatever reason. Okay, then let's say after that I appoint another student, mixed mode, coursework 30%, research 70%. Okay, that student will be considered as additional output to my talent. You understand me? So that's question number one. Question number two, talking about you know, doing part-time job and all this thing. Yeah, I fully understand nowadays, you know, people are really struggling, right, to survive. I know that some of you you're doing 2-3 work at one time and it's so difficult to juggle. To be honest with you, I don't have an answer to that, because brothers and sisters, because to me, the most important person that you should talk to, all right, about whether can I be considered as a GRA if I were to have 2-3 jobs like this and I'm doing a reporting job for TV3 and all that, you need to be talking to your potential supervisor and researcher and see what he or she thinks about it, because I cannot give you the answer, because I don't know. because it's not my research. And furthermore, brothers and sisters, I think it's very important for you to be honest and tell the truth and tell your constraints, because look, we are all humans. When we enter the university, we bring in our baggage. We bring in our baggage, meaning to say we bring in our problems. Okay? I have had students who have problems at home, marital problem, and that affects the studies. You understand me? Right? So these are common things, but you need to be open to your supervisor, researcher. You need to inform them of your constraints. Doctor, my constraint is that currently I'm working with TB3, blah, blah, blah. You know, so give the whole picture, tell the whole thing, so that she can be just when she decides whether she wants to take the risk by appointing you. Don't hide anything from him or her.
But in the policies itself, is it acceptable?
It's okay.
Okay.
As long as, you know, there's nothing in the policy that stops students from doing that. It's more of your you know, the way you negotiate with your supervisor, researcher. Because for a research, only the researcher will understand the gravity of that research, or the level of the depth of that research, or the complexity of that research. Only the researcher understands, because he or she wrote the proposal. You see? And the researcher, you know, when you write a proposal, you put your heart and soul into it, you know. You don't like, tak apalah, like surat cinta, it's not surat cinta, you know. You really think through. You really, you know, sometimes it takes us about a month or 2 months to come up with a good proposal. So it's like we are putting our heart into it. So if you want to join that team, you need to come clean. You need to tell everything, okay? So that she or he, when he accepts you, he or she will be aware of your condition, okay? And then have a clear and justified expectations on you. Yeah, that's it, right? 2 questions, right?
Actually about the bank account.
Oh, okay. That one is like a bit technical, I think. No, because actually, to be honest, as far as the university is concerned, it doesn't matter which bank. I mean, one person can have like 2, 3 accounts. So you may be asking like, okay, I think for the GRA payment, I just want to put into this account so that it's easy for me to monitor. Do that. We do not restrict, oh, CIMB only or RHB only. It doesn't matter. Okay, as long as there is an account that we can transfer the money to you. Okay, we don't want to keep your money. Yes, brother.
Good morning. It's been on.
Yes.
I have come here briefly just now. Which
May I know your name, brother?
maybe you can call me Jesse if you want.
JC. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Which kuliah?
Currently in Kuliah of Science, but my supervisor at this point is an engineering lecturer. There is a cooperation between the Kuliah of Engineering. In fact, I am with Innocent, which is located in London.
Okay, and who's your supervisor?
Dr. Zahira.
Who? Sorry?
Dr. Zahira.
Zahir Ramli.
Yes.
Okay, innocent. Okay. So why are you here?
Because my co-supervisor here is monitoring me while I'm using a software which he is the only one who knows it over.
Oh, and who's this person?
IR Izihandi Ibrahim.
Sorry?
IR Izihandi Ibrahim.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You have explained when I came here just now. You
Yeah.
explained a little bit about secrecy or confidentiality of the project.
Yes.
I'm not very sure whether this is the right question I'd like to forward to you. But is there any situation in which postgraduate students, full-time research, have to sign a document, like for example, a document issued by the government under the Official Secrets Act 1974? I mean, maybe if I could elaborate a little further, you mentioned the term data, confidential, top secret data, dealing with the top secret data issued to the government. Is there any part in which they were required to sign a document?
There is.
Probably you can share it to everyone. Thank you.
Yes. This is about, okay, basically JC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. JC is asking about the issue of confidentiality of the information that you have gathered throughout the research period. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is this. Let me tell you that when you are being appointed as a GRA, particularly GRA, right? There will, after you have your appointment, in order for the appointment to come into effect, you need to sign a few things. Among those things is what we call non-disclosure form. Non-disclosure form. That form is about, it's a kind of a legal thing, but basically everything is regarding you maintaining the confidentiality of the information. Okay, it's a legal thing where it's clearly stated that, you know, should you be found misappropriating or disseminating this blah blah blah, you know, some legal action will be taken upon you, and you need to sign that. And your researcher, yeah, the PI also needs to sign that to acknowledge that. Do you get what I'm saying here? So if you ask us whether is there a form to show the legal, that is legally binding, yes, there is. Okay, so please be careful with that. To be honest with you, the rule is very simple. You're doing this with your supervisor, right? So should you feel that, you know, this information, you feel that it should be disseminated or not disseminated, etc., you must always ask your supervisor. You must always ask your supervisor. Okay, why am I saying this? Because, brothers and sisters, okay, when we apply for grants, okay, there are times when actually our aim is to come up with something and to commercialize. That means we are doing, for example, FRGS, fundamental research grant. Okay, let's say I do this fundamental research grant, and at the end of the day, my aim is that, you know, I know that this is really a breakthrough research, and I'm going to patent. I, as the researcher, I want to patent this thing because this is something new in Malaysia or even in the world. Okay, so I want to patent. Now I'm telling you a real thing, because we do have researchers who go for patent. Patent meaning patent. You know patent, right?
Copyright.
No. It's not copyright. Copyright can be the slides here. I can just copyright. Copyright is nothing. Patent is a bigger thing. Like those people who won Nobel Prize, the Nobel Prize winners. Okay, they have like 200 patents with them. Patents is bigger than just copyright. Okay, so you see, confidentiality, because it is a breakthrough, it is something very new, all right? Which means if you want to go for patent, you cannot share that information by any means. You cannot go for publication, because the moment you publish, or the moment you go to a conference and tell people, hey, everyone, I'm doing the research on this, blah, blah, blah. No, you cannot patent anymore, because people have already learned about what you are doing. So there's no novelty anymore. Khalas, habis. So that is why I'm saying you need to be careful. So that is why if you want to disseminate any information regarding the research that you are involved in, you need to request the approval of your supervisor researcher, because they have an aim when they go for the grant, they have an aim, they know where they're going. You understand me? So don't kill them. To put it bluntly, don't kill them, because the moment you say that, doctor, I want to go for conference, this is good, blah, 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 I still want to go. No. You're not supposed to share the information, because if I want to go for patent, this thing cannot be told to the public. Get it? So that's another reason why, okay, certain things must be kept confidential. Okay, any questions from the chat? Any online? Anyone online? Are you guys alive? Not alive? Sleeping? None? I couldn't access the. That's a tendency. Okay, any other? So, when shall I start? When start? Yeah? Okay, right. Oh yes, you have a question. Yes, can you use the mic so that everyone can hear you?
My name is Mohammed Bruni from Economics.
Okay, brother.
So you just mentioned right now the lead investigator, they want to patent.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, and as a student, you are supposed to publish from that same investigation that is conducted. And you are supposed to publish from what the research that you just carried out, which the professor wants to patent. How do you go about this publication plan?
Very good question. Very good question. Because just now I said that, you know, if you want to go for patent, all right, you're supposed to keep it like top secret, right? Yeah, you cannot tell the world, yeah. But on the other hand, you as a GRA, in order for you to graduate, you need to publish at least one or two, I don't know, different kuliah tends to have different policy, yeah. Okay, so let's say one article in Index Journal, right? Okay, brothers and sisters, let me tell you this. All researchers and all academics, they are all aware that you as the student needs to publish. Okay, they are all aware of that. All right. So, which means that even though, let's say for example me, okay, if I want to go for patent, okay, I will still allow you to publish. Okay, which means that there will be an aspect of that research which I will have to allow you to publish. Do you understand me? That is why, if you want to publish or attend conference for, you know, to disseminate the information, you need to discuss with the researcher. Sir, professor, I need to publish because of that. This is a requirement. Which part of the whole research that I can publish? Do you get what I'm saying, brother? Okay. So it means that, I mean, even though I'm going for patent, there will be certain things. I don't need to. Publication can be in various forms, brother. Okay. You can do preliminary study. You can publish the piloting. You know, different aspects. Huh? You can do a systematic review of the thing, literature, and all that. Those things are possible. It is doable. So that is why I said, but without sharing the findings of the study. This is the, you got to learn the trade of research and publication. Okay. Sometimes you can publish other things except for the findings. So that means if you want to go for patent, you don't publish the findings, but you publish all other things. Maybe like you know, the systematic review, the preliminary studies, the piloting, and all that you can publish. You understand? So there are various aspects of the study that which are still publishable, even though you're going for patent. And I'm very sure your supervisor is well aware of this, because you need to publish in order to graduate, or else you cannot graduate. Yeah. Okay. So that is why you need to discuss. You cannot simply go and publish on your own. Okay. Right. Anything else? Okay. I think that's it. My dear Pam is here. Dr. Pam is here.
Okay, one last question.
Oh, last question. Sorry, Pam. It's okay.
Just I mean, I was curious, like for example, I published by myself, but I didn't publish with my supervisor. So in that case, will it be considered as a, for the graduation requirement, is it like compulsory for me to publish related research based on my thesis, or if I publish by myself, maybe some other topic or whatever. So that will be also considered under graduation requirement.
Okay. Publication for graduation requirement number 1, it must be on the topic of your thesis. Definitely. So when you talk about the topic of your thesis, there has to be your name and your supervisor's name, or I don't know, co-researchers, co-supervisors. I don't know. You have, you know, depending on the team of your the supervisory committee, right? Okay. But rather, my answer would be, if this is for your graduation, definitely your supervisor's name must be in there. You cannot publish solo. Okay? All right. Okay, brothers and sisters, thank you very much for listening. All right, I hope you have a clear idea of what I have conveyed. Okay. I wish you all the best of luck, and I would also like to congratulate you. All right, and thank you for choosing IUM. Actually, we have wonderful researchers. We have a lot of talented researchers. Okay, and they are all actually they are well known, but I don't know why some of them are so modest. You know, they are not so visible. Okay, right. So I wish you all the best. Okay, and let me tell you this. You are all in the path of jihad. You will be tested along the way in various ways. I'm saying that because I was a student too in this university. I did my PhD here at Taaruf of Education. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, I had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time, even though there were challenges that I had to go through. Because why? Because we are all humans and life is not perfect. All right, but whatever happens, you need to persevere. You need to tell yourself, I'm doing this, okay, for the sake of Allah. Okay, and I am trying to understand His knowledge, His ilmu. Okay, so that should keep you going. Okay, you need to always be strong. Okay, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you. They will share the slides. I didn't have to.
Thank you so much, Adlina, for such wonderful sharing on about being GRA and being a research assistant. I mean, like, as a postgraduate student, like that's one of our opportunity to commercialize our skills and our services. I think like since both of our speakers is here, then maybe it's a good opportunity for us. Let's take a group picture with both of them. Okay, we take a picture first before we proceed with the next session. Those online, you can open your camera. Kita ambil gambar dulu.
Oh, ambil gambar. Okay, sure.
Come, guys. Downstairs. Like yesterday.
Oh. Where shall we be? Here. Tengah. Senang. Okay.
Sister depan.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. True. Hi, Prof. Hey, come lah. Hi, Ciping Ma.
Hey, stand up.
Hey, come on lah.
The VIP.
Come on lah.
In between us.
Yes, please.
Here, just to say hi to Adlina.
Ni my apa? Co-supervisor ni. How are you? Dekat. Your session finish? Belum. Oh.
Okay. Ready? 1, 2. again. 1, 2. Okay, carry on.
Must have set session.
Oh, freestyle. Okay, everyone. Okay, online for freestyle. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Alright, nice. Thank you.
Oh, what baby tak ada. Ada kelas penuh. Okay.
Habis live. Ya, done. Kita pakai.
Let's go for
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, everyone. So we're going to have a 5-minute quick break before we move on to proceed with Dr. Pamelia's session. Maybe a bit of introduction of our speaker lah. The next part, she is a really humble person. I know her when she was doing her PhD, and I was only a UG student there. And now I'm still calling them, but now she's Dr. Pam. Actually, she's a national champion, right? National champion at the 3-minute thesis competition. So if we're talking about communication, she is more than qualified to brief you about communicating your thesis, etc. And well, so while we're waiting for the 5 minutes, okay, so basically it's 11:47. 11:47, we're going to start. So thank you so much for everyone. I'm not being an MC right now, okay? Actually, we're supposed to have a slot, a sharing session as well, because Dr. Adlina already explained to you guys about the RMC policies, or the policies when it comes to being a GRA and RA. And maybe I'm here today to tell you the reality of being a GRA and RA, because at one point I was involved in 4 different projects at the same time. One under CPS, one under SASMEC, one FRGS, which is up to now, one under SASMEC, Kuantan, and another one is actually, I think like the brother just now were asking about top confidential information like that. And right now I'm working in this one project, work with the supervisor, with my supervisor and my co-supervisor, even though I'm just a master student. We're working on drafting a new cybersecurity bill in Malaysia. But I cannot discuss information lah. Like you said lah, you have to sign NDAs. But about the signing NDAs, about the documents that you have to fill out, the requirement to have your bank account registered. Reason is why, if you open the later on, if you become an RA, or if you're, sometimes your PI will show you how that RSVP2 works. And if you see when they want to add a talent, they do require you, if you don't have your bank account detail there, you cannot be registered. That's one thing. All right. And then secondly is that when you talk about FRGS, what happens is that if you are a master or PhD student and your thesis or you're going to do it under an FRGS, what happens is that they will ask you about this when you were defending your proposal. So sharing my own experience is that I defended my proposal last year, November. And what happened is that at the time when I joined UIA, when I joined to do my master's, I originally do my own research. I don't intend to do any grant or anything. But then the end of the year, like you have COVID at the time. So what happened is that suddenly there's this need for GRAs, and when we advertise it, no one comes. GRA and RAs is a really dire need. You can consider yourself, you can consider it as a career, a legitimate career as well, being a research assistant and so on. But at the same time, what happened is that coincidentally, the project has something to do with my thesis, and I I was like approached, like, okay, lah, you join us as a GRA. And what happened is that I was not expecting anything. I was not expecting any questions or anything. So I defended my proposal. After that session, what happened is suddenly this lecturer said, oh, we noticed that you're going to be under this grant. So how do you connect your grant and this? So that's why what Dr. Adlina said when she talked about your thesis must be in relation to your FRGS is true. But it's not necessary that you have to be the same title. Remember what Dr. Alia said yesterday? What is it that he said? What did Dr. Alia say yesterday? He said something about this. Everyone forgot. So Dr. Alia said, your research title, your thesis title should not be taken from any grant. So what does it mean? It means that if you're doing an FRGS, it's not nice. It doesn't mean that you need to have an exact title. Number two is that there's always opportunity for you to reduce or make that scope relatable to your grant. So if there's one way or another, like for example, you're already starting your research, right? You're already starting your thesis. Please don't do. What I almost did is I talked to my supervisor. I almost changed my topic, which requires me to do back my proposal and re-defend myself. So don't go to that extent. And I think that's why having your supervisor, having close relationship with your supervisor works both as one way for you to proceed with your studies and another one way for you to commercialize or to promote your skills and services. These soft skills, like for example, Dr. Pamela here today is going to teach you about communication. It is essential, it is crucial, because what happened is that a lot of lecturers, they want RAs that they can talk to, that can do work, and that can communicate those works properly when requested or when in a research meeting. So having a good communication skill, one, is essential. Secondly, your writing skills. And I think that relate to what Dr. Taaruf said about writing. What happens is that how many of you already thinking about publishing your own articles? Please, yeah, a few. You already published your article, right? Or just start writing?
No. I published during my undergraduate.
Oh, you published during your undergraduate. See, you already published. We have more experience actually in that area. So don't shy yourself from writing. And what happens is that what I discovered, of course, it's true, right? When Dr. Adlina said that as an RA you're nobody, it doesn't mean she doesn't mean it as like, oh, that you won't get any recognition whatsoever, you know. Because like again, this is why it's important, and I think we have stressed about this since day one. Your relationship with your supervisor is of the utmost importance. And because what happens is that you will often find yourself in a project with your supervisor. And if you're not in the project with your supervisor, you'll be in a project with the friend of your supervisor. And what happened is that if you get to know about this, I've listened to some stories from my friends about being an RA, and what happened is that they have published this article, and then their name is not even in the author part. It's either their name is not put there, or they're just briefly mentioned in the acknowledgement. Thank you. So having a good relationship with supervisor means what? Means that you will have your name on that. And it's not only that. I think like another aspect is that when we talk about publication, it's not just you going to publish an article. There are certain projects that will require you, you write articles that will show up in newspaper or in online articles, something like that. And I think that's something that I myself have experienced. Beforehand. With the SASMEC grant, publish one article and 3 newspaper articles. So, and alhamdulillah, because Profida is my Profida is not my supervisor. just to be clear, Profida is not my supervisor. I help with a lot of stuff. I'm just an assistant. But then again, like this project of mine, I managed to get the link with her, and I think like she Dr. Adlina has mentioned about having a dedicated website to see where the projects are, right? So another one way of you getting those kind of opportunities is simply just be close to your supervisors, because trust me, like the state, the need for an RA this year or even this point of moment has never been more dire. I think like who knows, maybe Dr. Fam also needs a research assistant. Well, I also have a research assistant. So that's the thing. So look at an RA as your freelance career. Like she said, like it's a freelance opportunity. So market your skills. You're going to do variety of stuff. Sometimes being an RA, you don't do anything. Yeah, it can happen like that. Sometimes in RA, it depends on the work lah. There are months where you get paycheck, but there are also other months where suddenly like you have to do work. Like for example, like I think like I've been open to the committee. I'm also part of the committee of Taaruf, right? I told them like sorry, I have to be late because I'm only able to get like 1 hour of sleep last night because like I suddenly have urgent research thing to do. So I only finish it at 6, and 6 is 6 to 7. So those kind of things could happen. But I think another difference is that, okay, GRA, like she said, like Dr. Adlina said, the money is inside. But as an RA, what I observe a lot is that you have to claim. There's a specific form that you need. It's not like automatic just because it says that, oh, you'll get 2,000 or anything, you'll get that amount. No. Then you will have to fulfill certain number of hours before you're able to even claim for that money. I think like the policy is like 14 hours at least per month. See, 14 hours only lah, not much, right? So please be, when you become a GRA, when you become an RA, like Dr. Adlina said, and I can testify to what she said, your relationship with your supervisee, the quality of your work, the kind of work that you have to do, also have to, because sometimes what happened is that I have friends who's contacted me like, what does RA do? And then like, the thing is that RA, it's in the name, research assistant. You assist the research. So it can go to as simple as you fulfilling a form to the fact that you have to meet a VIP or something, or to book hotels, book places for meetings, all of that extent. So my advice is again, don't shy away with these opportunities. You guys are already postgraduate students. And about time management, I believe, like for example, our brother Shami just now was asking about it. There's always that opportunity. If you think you can do, you can do. If you don't think you can do, be honest. A lot of these lecturers, what happened is that they love honesty. Because why? I'm not sure I can be considered as a witness, but there are those instances where this person is in the grant for like she got like 2,000-3,000 per month. She didn't do anything, and then suddenly she changed course, she changed mode. Just like that. So that all that money. So please be honest, be clear if you have any other commitments with your supervisor, and I think that's all. Okay, Dr. ready? Can you show the slide? Okay. So without any further ado, I'm sorry I took longer than I expected. So if anything, like I say again, everyone please be in the WhatsApp group. Inshallah, this kind of opportunities, the reason also why we want to invest in one centralized group is, like for example, like Dr. Adlina said, this kind of opportunities, how often you guys open IM website? The only time you open IM website is when you log into your Wi-Fi, right or wrong? You don't even open, you open the Wi-Fi and then you immediately X, you don't even see the IM website. So that's why we want to bring the news to you, bring the information to you. And that would also include information in relation to GRA and RA opportunities. All right, I think that's all. So everyone, without any further ado, I would like to invite I don't know if Sister Fariha had shown you guys Taaruf Takrim video. Should we pasang that first? Sister Familia? Islam. She started it. Alhamdulillah. And also, again, I have to reiterate that she's Dr. Familia. She was a national champion 3-minute thesis competition representing Malaysia, right? Representing Malaysia in international competition. So without any further ado, I would like to present the floor to Dr. Familia.
Salam, and thank you so much, Faiz, and also Fariha, everyone here that making time to come here and to be here with us today. I'm Pam, as what Faiz says, okay? I was an alumni here, I did my master's here, and I continued to do my PhD here. And then I'm working here now. So IAM has a very special place in my heart. And I'm here to share with you that there is a very beautiful research journey that you will encounter here. What if for a moment we forget about the word research and just talk about how you are trying to actually investigate something? All of us, when we do a particular research, okay, let's say if whatever research that you're doing, you're actually trying to investigate something, you're trying to find out something, you're trying to explore something, you're trying to prove something and evaluate something, whichever that your research field is in. So if we remove the word research for just a little bit, then we're actually trying to, instead of saying, what research are you working on? You'll be saying, I'm working on evaluating the effectiveness of blah, blah, blah. I'm working on exploring this and that. It becomes more personalized and it becomes more meaningful, because really what we're doing is we're doing something that brings meaning to us and purpose to us, right? That's what we're doing actually. So all of you here are, can I say that you're all PhD students, or are there some who are master's students here as well?
Majority master.
Oh, majority masters, okay. Okay, so you might be doing a mixed mode, maybe coursework as well. Those of you who are joining us online, maybe you're also doing, I know that some of you are doing it's very much coursework in your research and coursework as well. So whichever mode that you're doing in, whenever it comes to PG, whenever it comes to you doing any kind of, whether it's an assignment, most assignments nowadays, projects, it's very much project research based assignments. So even that needs communication as well. How do you communicate your research? So me actually coming to doing my master's research, we had to do defense and everything. Every defense is a communication as well, in a way, right? Everything that we need to actually convey out to people is a form of communication. And when you want to sell your work in some way, you are doing a little bit of negotiation to some extent. You're trying to prove your point and you're trying to show why it's important. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about how we had to do that when we organized the 3-minute thesis competition in 2019. Am I right, Faiz? 2019. And how we had to do that, and also how were we the host? No, we were not the host at that time. It was Oopsie was the host. So how we actually had to communicate that in 3 minutes. 3 minutes, everyone. What can we do in 3 minutes? Honestly, how long do you take to brush your teeth? You have to do this in 3 minutes. So anyway, so I want to share with you what I learned from that, because that was a valuable experience. By the way, those of you who might be doing your PhD at the moment, it would be really wonderful if you can join this this competition. It's not just about the competition, it's what you learn along the journey. So, okay, Faria, thank you. Okay, so little bit of explanation to you. When you do your PhD journey, your postgraduate journey, let's look at it from a big bird's eye, point of view. So previously, let's say in olden times, way olden times, okay, early man, maybe this was their predator and they were kind of having to survive. They have to run away from predators in order to survive, to hunt and find food. So this was like their stressor at that time. Okay, now Farina, let's show them the next slide. What would be our current stressor? I like this post that I saw. It's very much, we're running away from, we're scared of deadlines. We're trying to race to get some sleep, like what Faiz said just now. You only got 1 hour. Gosh, Faiz, you look so fresh. And then responsibilities is something that we're running from or trying to run towards attaining. How many of you feel that this resembles you sometimes? Anyone feels that way? Yeah, some of you are shy to say. You can just blink because you're wearing a mask. I can't see. Okay, so the next slide, Farina. Okay, so coming into this part, right? Sometimes you might feel this way. I want to share with you what you might feel. You might feel like this. I will start my assignment and my research or my project or anything when all the planets align and when everything is perfect and the perfect condition, only then I will begin. That time doesn't really start. It doesn't really come, unfortunately, everyone, because a lot of times we wait for perfect conditions before we want to actually continue our research, before we want to think about how do I communicate my research to my supervisor. We would try to think, let me just wait for the perfect timing. A lot of times the perfect timing is when you create the timing. It doesn't come to us that way. It's just us making it happen. When you can do that, things start to fall into place. Okay, the next slide, Maria. So over here, I just want to share with you, I know a lot of you are master students, but just think of it in this way. Can you relate to these questions? When people ask you these questions, they like to know what you're doing, especially family members and friends. They just want to know what's going on with you. They want to know, right? So they mean well. So these are the questions that they will ask you. And these are the questions for you to tell them, not to ask you. This is something to forward in your WhatsApp group. When will you graduate, by the way? Are you writing your thesis? Did you start already or not? What's your next plan? Or how is your research going? You know, these are very kind questions, actually. They come from a good place and good intentions. Unfortunately, it evokes some kind of anxiety in us. And did your paper get published already? Come on, how many years? But it's good. Actually, these are good questions, you know. It's coming from a good place, but it evokes anxiety in a lot of postgraduate students. And also, what year are you? Sometimes we also don't know what year we are in, right? After a while, if you're a PhD student, after a while, like, what year, what semester? I don't know. I'm just doing my chapter. It's all you know. So it's normal. If you feel this way, I want to let you know that it's normal. It's normal to feel like an allergic reaction to these questions. You are normal. It's just to let you know that whatever that state that you're in right now, to know that it's okay to take your time to see what you want to do, but don't take too long. That's the only thing, because we want to be able to communicate our research, but in an effective way, and we need to know first how to start. Okay, next slide for me. So knowing your why will help you discover your how. Before joining the 3-minute thesis competition, I remember I didn't even hear about it before. Did you guys hear about it? Do you know? No, because maybe most of you are masters, right? It's good to Google it. We've done it a couple of times. It's something very interesting. So before you know how to communicate your research, you need to know your why. Why did you choose that topic? Why did you choose your course? Why did you choose UIA? I know the word why is a taboo and it's like scary, but when we can ask ourselves, we can use the word why. Only for nobody else can use it on you. You can use it on yourself. So why did you choose UIA? Honestly, why did you choose your course? Why did you choose to pursue a postgraduate degree? Why not just stop at where you are and further in your job? Why did you choose that particular topic to research on? Hopefully the answer is not like, somebody told me to do it, or there was a grant, they needed a PG student, I just say, okay. I mean, is that you? It might be some of you, maybe. Sometimes some students do that. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's missing an element of passion and the why factor. If you feel like, yes, I happen to like that topic too, so then it jives well. So a lot of times it's very important to know the why behind the how and the what to communicate your research. Why did you take up that topic? What about that topic interests you? Is there a need in the country, in the world, in the body of research? So usually I will start with, what does that topic mean to you personally? Like, how does that topic relate to you? Maybe I can share with you about my research. So my research is about developing an intervention module for adolescents, adolescents living with HIV in shelter homes in Malaysia. So why did I choose that topic? Because I have been to these homes before in Malaysia, and I find that I used to deal with the women there. Then I realized that the children have bigger issues also very big issues that they're facing emotionally, psychologically, academically, and behaviorally. They were facing all kinds of issues. So to help them, I realized that I was inspired by that. Then that wouldn't be a sufficient reason enough. You would need to know from this, this is what we call statement of problem, right? What's your problem statement? So you can't just, that's personal. But in the body of research, is there a need? Then I would start to research, and that's actually what LR is all about. So when you start and think of it in a very bird's eye view, you become passionate about it. You become like, you start to think about it in a very personal way. So start with yourself first. What does that topic mean to me? And then what does that topic mean to the country, your country? What does it mean to the nation? What does it mean to the world? How is it going to contribute? Because you need to do something novel, right? Even if it's a master's assignment, it's still going to contribute in some way. Like what Dr. Adlina was saying just now, I always encourage my students to publish too, because I always tell them this, you work so hard, even if it's just an assignment, you work really hard in that. Your, UIA standard in research, that's one of my favorite things about UIA. We focus a lot on evidence-based research, especially. We really want to contribute and make it very much tangible. And almost every assignment is a research-based kind of project. It's like a mini thesis, I used to call it. And then, so every assignment that I tell my students to do, I will say to them that you're putting in so much of effort and you've done such a great job. Let's publish it. You need to have it in your, recognized, and share the knowledge with others. And they would do that. They would get inspired and they would do that. Even if they're undergraduate, I tell them to do that. Several of my UG students have published already. So that's what we need to do right now. When you know your why, the how becomes passionate. So for me, I was very passionate about intervention research. So you would have your topics that you're passionate about. Maybe more about, different kinds of exploration, investigation. Is it experimental? Is it non-experimental? What kind of research are you interested in? And then you can bring it to be able to communicate. So when you know your how, first of all, then now we can go to the next step. So when you know your why, then we can go to the how, sorry. Okay, next slide, sorry, how? So this is the one that I was asking you just now. What is your intrinsic motivation to do PG, postgraduate studies? You know what is intrinsic motivation? So extrinsic is getting a certificate. I want to get the master's degree. I want to get PhD. So I need my scroll because I need the scroll. Therefore, then I will advance in my job or advance in this and that. That's extrinsic. Of course, we need that too, definitely. But bigger than that is intrinsic. That means in Malay we say motivasi dalaman. What is the internal intrinsic motivation that you are doing it? What's your internal drive that's pushing you to do this? It's not easy doing PG, it's not easy doing that at all. But what drives you to do it? It costs a lot. It costs a lot of your time, your energy. Some of you might be away from your families even. It takes a lot of sacrifice. But what is your intrinsic motivation? I'm doing it so that I can further my advancement in scholarly knowledge, or I can further improve myself. But why? Why do you want to improve yourself? I'm doing it because, anybody want to share with me why do you do postgraduate studies? Maybe anybody can share here. Maybe somebody else can also relate to that. Anyone want to shout out a reason? Oh, this is like my UG class. Everyone will look away from me. Don't look away. Faiz, why you want to do PG studies?
I'm giving them the mic.
Skip, right? Yes, I think you want to say something. Thank you. Yes.
Fast lah, fast kat semua.
Okay.
You pilih.
Okay, so actually the reason why I'm pursuing in PG, because you want the honest answer or?
Yes, wrong. You want it.
Oh, okay, you want it wrong.
This is recorded, not live.
Okay.
Oh, so you should edit girl.
Actually, because you know, like the perceptions in Malaysia, you know, the higher your degrees, you become more honorable, you become more right. So actually, in my families, we are academic based families. My families, so really, you know, like tekankan anak-anak dia untuk terus belajar. So basically, I think that drive me to become to pursue in PG, and also maybe I want to top up myself to improve myself with knowledge in the fields that I love.
Thank you so much, Michelle. What's your name, by the way, brother?
My name is Shahni.
Shahni. Thank you,
Yeah.
Shahni. So maybe one more example. One more example.
Dia nak cakap.
Okay, if you want.
Okay, hi, my name is Sakita and I'm from KOE. So I think the reason why I am pursuing my postgraduate study is because previously I worked, I have a stable job, in my opinion lah. But I think that I love research, reading. I like to read a lot, and while doing my work, I don't think that doing my work will allow me to do research, something like that. So by pursuing it allows me to read more. I really love research, so mainly because of that.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have Sakina and Shani. Okay, thank you for sharing. If anybody else wants to.
Okay, Faris, you want to?
Faiz.
Okay, brother. You're PhD candidate, right?
Well, for me, I can say it may not be one particular reason. There be so many reasons. But one of the reasons is that, for instance, you're wondering to, like when you're a child, you look in the sky and you say, how? These stars, what is keeping them hanging in the skies? And then you want to investigate. So it's something like that. You have something you want to investigate. And so you say, why don't I do that at the PhD level?
That's really nice. Thank you. What's your name again, brother?
Sorry, Mohammed.
Mohammed. You are doing a master's?
Yeah.
PhD, Dr. Mohammed. Okay, Amin. All right, thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Mohammed, Shami, and also Sakina. So I can see that there's a common theme here. We have like passion inside individually for yourself. One is the passion to know how and what and where and how does it happen. So the passion to explore. One is the passion to self-improvement and personal growth. And one is the passion to do research because you just love the whole nature of reading and writing as well. So you would like to actually explore. And one also, of course, very nice and honest answer, which is that to societal and family pressure. Because honestly, it's true that people also look at stature as well. And that's a common and conception and also maybe even a common truth in many places that we go to. So what I realized is that when people, there was this very rich CEO that asked me, actually, why did you PhD? Just gonna get the name or something. Then I told him like, no, actually when I do my PhD, I mean, of course that comes with the bonus of that. You have a certain like, even they call you doctor, that's the name that you actually get when you do a doctor of philosophy. But what I noticed, what I got was these beautiful gems of being given opportunities to actually make a lot of meaningful change in different organizations and even in policy making, where people now you have this huger influence that you can have for yourself, for your community, and then the country. Actually, indirectly, you are making a change and a difference. So whenever we go, let's say if we go online, we're like saying, why is this happening in the country? Why is this happening in the world? Why is this problem happening to people, to mankind? Now you have this, you are put on the seat where you actually can make a change. You can have this wonderful ability to apply for big grants, and then in that grant you can actually make a change. You can touch the nation. You can actually, you will have people seeking you because they heard about you somewhere, somehow, and asking you to help their organization in big policy making changes. And then you get a shock and you say, gosh, I'm blessed that I have this, this access and in a way autonomy and power to be able to use this blessing to make greater good and change, actually. So that is the blessing that comes with the PhD, which of course will come along with the family kind of name as well. They'll be like, I know in my family, they'll be like, wow, the first person to do PhD. And then it makes you feel like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. But actually, it's also an inspiration to everybody that comes after you, It's an inspiration to your nephews and to your younger brothers and your younger cousins. So when you look at it in that way, you change it. But remembering that, people also can judge you if you haven't finished yet. So make sure that you don't put your confidence on people's hands. It's just a byproduct, but don't put your confidence in, my family now values me, I feel valued, because that is conditional. It can change anytime. It's just a byproduct. Tell yourself that I'm not going to be too dependent on that validation. It's just helping me, but regardless of, I know my worth and what I'm doing. I remember somebody, a distant relative, even saying to my mom, because I did my PhD a long time now. Okay, so don't be like me. Okay, I had issues with getting participants because mine was a very marginalized group. So I kept taking time to get that. Some participants came in, then they dropped out. Some passed away, some even ran away from their homes. So I was faced with different kinds of challenges in that, So I actually extended quite a bit. And then there were some people who were saying something like, what is she doing actually in KL? I remember that was funny, and I remember my mom feeling affected, and I said, don't worry, we know what is happening. That's the most important thing. So actually it's that way. You know yourself why you are doing this. That's the most important. And I like your answers because I can see that you do have passion. Now we are at the state where, how do we convey this to other people? Because you know in yourself, right? Okay, so the next slide, hurry up. This one, I think, since we're not using a Nanti, so I think you have already shared with me just now. What is your motivation or passion factor? So that factor is going to help push you tomorrow morning, whether you're going to decide between, do I do it today or tomorrow? Do I put in the extra effort today or tomorrow? That's going to be the X factor or the plus factor. This passionate factor is something super important for you, because this is going to decide whether you want to actually press on and do it, or whether halfway you're going to lose hope. It's not a bad thing if you lose hope. It's only sad if you don't do something about it. I have so many friends who are so intelligent who suddenly want to withdraw, who suddenly want to stop. It doesn't mean that they're weak. It does not. It just means that somewhere along the way, there were some loose ends that were not tied, and they need help. So whether you reach out to get help or not, because these are intelligent friends who have now suddenly feel like they want to withdraw. So it can happen to anyone, everyone. It's nothing to do with your laziness or hardworkingness or iman or strength or weakness. It's just someone who is in need of help, who just feels like they're drowning and they need help. But sometimes, instead of waiting for the lifeboat, we also need to call people, excuse me, help me, I don't know what, I'm stuck. We need to ask for help also. So it's knowing how to do that. We need to ask for help. I do ask for help too, somebody if I need help. Okay, the next one, sorry, help. I want to share with you this thing, a little bit about this, okay? Those of you who are doing a PhD, those of you who are doing a master's, you will get there. Don't worry. Because this is about the 3-minute thesis competition that I want to share with you, which all of you can use as your knowledge when you communicate your research. So first of all, when you are trying to give a presentation or communicate your research in a viva, or even in a proposal defense, or even just as a presentation because at a conference, anywhere, remember that presentation is actually 50% of it is how you present and convey it, and 50% is the actual research itself. So that's a lot for the how you convey, right? I would say 50% is how you convey, maybe even more than the actual research. Because if you have an awesome research but you don't know how to convey it, it's like having this, beautiful knowledge in yourself, but you don't know how to be of use to give it to others. Just keep it like a diamond inside you. So this is how you need to know how to convey. And I find very useful how to convey is having minimal words on the slide, if you can, not many words, and the whole thing comes from you. So a lot of times, I remember when it was IPRC, we have this in Department of Psychology, International Postgraduate Research Colloquium. It's actually a collaboration with Bangkok University. And it's very nice. I remember at that time, our dean, okay, so Prof. Shukran, actually, anyone knows Prof. Shukran from our department? So he said to us, okay, for our trip, this is for your IPRC to convey your research in this colloquium, go TEDx style. I remember he said that in the email, and I was thinking, wow, this is different, and I like that. I'm so glad, because the academic usual style is going to be lots of words, introduction, points, problem statement, points, and then LR, everything. Do people actually grasp what we tell them, right? So when he said that, I was inspired, and I said, gosh, TEDx style, I know TEDx style because I love watching TEDx videos. So it's very much visual, and then the whole gist of it comes from you communicating your points. For that to happen, you need to know it in your fingertips, of course, which can be possible. Okay, okay, you can the next one. So what I learned from conveying my research in 3-minute thesis is that, first of all, the first part of your communication is the content, of course, obviously. Whether you're going to have your background, significance of study, problem statement, RQ, your research question, the results and future implications, conclusion. And also, your language needs to be not like jargon based. Like, I'm from psychology background. I can't just be saying CBT, expecting everyone to know what it means. I need to say cognitive behavioral therapy. So that kind of a thing, it needs to be, in other words, right? What they would say is, even your grandma can understand. You're gonna be like, imagine that you are like Membawang, okay? You're peeling the onions with her, and then you're like, Nenek, you know what I'm going to do for my research stuff? I'm going to be doing this. Can she understand? Do you think she'll understand? It must be so layman and relatable, and even anyone can understand. You can just convey it to someone. I love doing this, because when you can convey it to your mom or your grandma or someone, it's like you know that you know your stuff very well. And then I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh my gosh, how on earth are we going to do background significance of study and everything in 3 minutes? That was what I had to do. How are we going to do it in a colloquium and put it all on the slides? And then you say cannot be academic, has to be very TEDx. How on earth can we do that? You might be thinking that, maybe. Actually, it's possible. It's possible. That's why think of it as you're telling a story. What is your story? So in the beginning, this happened. According to research, it's found to have this. So if you watch even TEDx, right, it's all evidence-based. It's based on research. Sometimes they do have citations at the bottom. Okay, according to UNICEF, blah, blah, blah. So it's how you communicate that. The second part is the communication part, the engagement. So did you actually make your audience want to know more? Or were you falling asleep in the middle of your own communication of your research? Are you bored? If you're bored when you're saying it, most probably they are bored too. So that kind of a thing. And did you generalize your research like too much? Because that can be too much of a, not actually being inclusive. It might be too generalizing. Always be careful of stuff like that. And then, are you passionate? That's where the enthusiasm comes in. I remember a student telling me this, in an interview for selection, interview to enter URA. And she said to me, we asked her, why do you take psychology, why do you want to take this course, And then she says, I don't believe in passion. I believe in job market. So this is the job market now. Therefore, I take this course. Passion will not give you money. Then I said like, that's a red flag for me. Because yes, passion does not give you money. But the interesting thing is when you have passion, it's like money doesn't become the end goal. It becomes the byproduct. It will just happen inevitably when you have the passion right. When you are focusing on job market must give me the money, if the job market changes, then your money issue changes too. It's that kind of a thing. When I remember a wonderful speaker saying, when you are passionate about something and you're gifted in that thing and you pursue that, you don't even have to look for things. People will just call you for that because they can see something in you, because you have the X factor and they know that you're the expert in your field. But before that happens, you have to believe that you are the expert in your field as well. Not just believing that you're the expert, you need to make sure that you do the reading and you really watch videos about your topic. You really read up about your topic. Not just in a tunnel vision, you have to read up in other journals. Maybe watch the news and see what's the current news, what exactly is happening. Then it will spark a very good interest in you. And it has to be consistent, not just this week I'm so passionate, next week I don't have time. It takes consistency, I remember another good speaker telling me that it's 2 ingredients, Pam, says persistency and consistency. So I'm sharing that with you because that helped me a lot. Being persistent and being consistent. Because when it comes to writing, I remember I have a very nice roommate, she's from Nigeria. Where are you from, by the way? Sorry? Ghana. And how about you? Okay, and you? Oh, nice. Okay, so she's from, how about you? Sorry, Yemen? Yemen, nice. Okay, and yourself? At the back.
From Bangladesh.
Oh, nice. Okay. So anyway, it's very nice to meet a lot of foreigners here. So one of my favorite things in UAE. So I met this Nigerian girl, and she is actually she plays the guitar. She also does PhD in law. If you Google her, she's pretty famous. Her name is Kafayat, Kafayat, Quadri, Quadri. So anyway, she's a lawyer. Actually, she's also practicing, and she makes her own music and songs. She writes her own songs. She would be doing that, but somehow she can finish her PhD. And she told me her secret. Okay, so this is what she does, which is wonderful. She would, I don't know, so what she would do is, she would write every day, only 1 page, if I'm not mistaken, a day. And that page, it was single spacing, purposely to trick her mind. I think that's what she said to me. And she would spend 2 hours every morning for that, 9 to 11 at the library. So whether she wants to or she doesn't want to, she's a very early to rise person. I was like at that time, very much like midnight owl. So she'll be like, I made you breakfast. I'm like, okay, thank you. So anyway, she was my roommate, and then she would do that. Every day was consistently write a page. And even if you can't write a page, she'll write something, but 9 to 11 at the library. That consistency and persistency, and still she can do music and play and have fun and be happy. So you guys, as we can learn from that, it's a great example. And remember that when you want to communicate your research, if you are passionate about it, it will just show in you. Like, are you confident? You gotta be confident. If you're not confident, people will know. If the audience, they actually absorb your energy also. If your energy is nervous energy, you kind of make people feel awkward and cringy and nervous. They feel not, but if you're confident and happy and at ease, you make people feel at ease also. So that's a very important part to convey your research. If you can spark a little interest in the audience for the topic that you're doing, then you kind of won the first step, because you help them to realize that the importance that you saw too. Okay, the next slide, Fariha. Passion in research. So how do we do that? In PhD, right? Normally they'll say that it has to be novel. I'm sure in masters as well. Like, it has to be something that's novel, means that It's something new that you can bring to the body of research, not something that's been done before, because like, why would you want to do the same thing again? How is yours going to be different? And then creative, putting in something different perhaps. What can you think of outside the box that you can do? Sense of purpose. Do you see meaning behind it? So in coming to my research, right, what I found was these youths actually who have HIV, they literally feel that they can't really, they have this despair, and they feel like they're doomed for life, and they feel that no one's going to hire them the moment they have to submit their, like a health report. They're not going to hire them. It's going to be difficult for them. And according to research, it also showed similar patterns. And also, there's something known as the blood-brain barrier, where this virus can also affect a person's behavior. Interesting, right? Behavior, because a lot of these teenagers were very like, you can say, conduct problems. And not all, but a lot were. And sometimes it could be attributed to their, you can call it biopsychosocial, their biological, their genetics, because a lot of their families are from ex-drug abuse, or maybe sex workers, or different kinds of backgrounds, because that's why they're there. They don't have a stable family. And then they are coming from that kind of a point of view. So the biological is that way. Psychological, they were abandoned. Some of them were left at childcare, at 2 years old, just like that over there. Some of them were just abandoned that way. So they are coming from a very rough background, and socially, they do not know how to mix, or they do not realize the severity of their virus, and then they tend to go into the wrong pathway. So I could see that most programs in Malaysia and even nationwide would focus more on older adults, or if it's with youths, it's usually like a camp, one-off kind of a thing. So in this program, I wanted to introduce like a module for the caregivers, that they will have this module and they can actually continue it, and they will know how to deal with these teenagers as well. So when you know that, right, you will become like, it's an amanah. It becomes, you honor your research, and you feel like it's bigger than just a piece of paper. It's bigger. You really feel the responsibility to complete it for the sake of the purpose that you have been, started to want to actually do it. Okay, the next slide. So the why part is very important, which is what you shared with me just now. But you gotta go a step further. It's not just I want to improve myself, or I want to, what was that again? I want to actually, because I love research. What about research that you love? What is it about it? Maybe you can say, I can't imagine living life without reading. Because when I read, I feel alive, and that actually brings me to another place where I can be in a creative zone and touch people's lives. I want to be able to improve myself, because I feel like I can actually do so much more. I can be, the gift that God has given you, I can use that to do much more for, people, or for myself, or my family, or anyone. Okay, next slide. We have here, next one. So basically, how do we communicate? Okay, let's put passion now over here, and let's think about, basically, people need to know the basic facts also about your research. We can't just share from a personal level. Also, we also need to put in the facts coming in assimilated with the passion that you have. So you need to know what is your impact factor, or what is your problem statement. You need to know exactly what is unique about your methodology, for example. So, something unique about your research. How is it different from other researchers? And what is unique about your participants? Maybe just asking yourself this one question: what is unique about my introing? What's unique about my statement of problem? What's unique about my participants? And then that can be the kind of like punchline that you're going to be conveying when you convey your research. Because people are going to listen when they hear something different. If it's just the same thing, after a while they zone out. Do you think so? Even us, when we listen, after a while we're like, I know, it sounds so beautiful, lullaby. But when you have something different to offer, unique, then they feel, wow, I gotta pay attention to this. Why is it different? And what were the results? Then your impact statement comes in. Okay, the next one right here. So basically, you're gonna pitch. You need to pitch your idea. So when I went to Australia, right? So actually, what happens is the 3-minute thesis competition is like this. You're gonna compete across Malaysia with different universities. Then the winner, there are two persons. The first, the champion, and also after that, the runner-up, we will actually go to Australia to compete at Queensland, because QU, Queensland University, is actually where this competition originated from. And when you go there, you compete with like Southeast Asia kind of countries, kind of like go there and compete. So over there, I did not get I didn't win. Okay, sorry. So anyway, I noticed what was my weakness. It's very interesting when you go there. You can meet a lot of different people. Oh my gosh, and it was such an eye-opener experience to see different people conveying their research. I learned a lot from them too. Like some of them are over-rehearsed. Some of them are being a bit more spontaneous. And then some of them focus a lot more on the results. So I noticed my weakness was there was a bit unbalance of too much on the statement of problem, maybe not enough of showing what I actually did as well. Because 3 minutes is quite a challenge. But anyway, it was really interesting to learn. And I learned so much. That was a meaningful experience. So when we went there, we went with Dr. Zarina and Dr. Adlina. We went together. And over there, they use Uber, right? In the Uber, the common question, oh, you're here for a holiday? And we'll be like, no, we're here for, should we just lie? That's going to be a long story after this, right? We're here for competition. Oh, what competition? Is it badminton? And we were like, no, theses, 3-minute theses. Oh, what's a 3-minute thesis competition? And then, okay, we have to, you actually have to communicate your thesis in 3 minutes. And then they would say, oh, really? Tell me about your thesis. What is it about? And then there you go, that's your 3-minute pitch in the Uber. And it happened like in every Uber, almost every Uber. And then it was at the immigration. And then it was like, oh, really? Why are you here, actually? Then 3-minute thesis. What's a 3-minute thesis? And then you have to go on again. So then you realize that, hey, this is interesting, actually. You start to become used to pitching your thesis in 3 minutes. Can you guys do that? Can you communicate your research in 3 minutes? Try and see. You feel like, oh, so short, what can we say? I don't think we can say anything. Actually, 3 minutes is long. Look at your watch. 3 minutes is long, everyone. It's quite a good time. If you really have easy, the content, if you really have concise, and you want to be able to pitch and share, it's pretty good time, actually, 3 minutes. It sounds short, but when you really try, if you watch the videos online, you can see that it's quite a good amount. So you need to know how to pitch, and usually you'll start with the problem that your research is trying to address. Then you're going to go into how did you do it and what was the result, and then you're going to end with therefore this actually is needed for blah 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 blah, and you're going to do impact statement. So usually wonderful trainings that I've been in, they would normally say you have to have this groundbreaking kind of like intro, and then the way you end with a bang as well. So the way you have like your impact, groundbreaking kind of intro, and after that you end with the bang. It's challenging to do, but after a while, you will be able to learn how to do it. How you start, how you end. In psychology, we call it primacy recency effect. So in the beginning, people always remember the beginning and the end. The middle, sometimes some parts, but how you start, they won't forget. How you end it, they won't forget. Even when you meet people, right? Did you remember the last thing that they said, or the first impression means a lot? That's the same thing. So what's your story? Then the 3-minute pitch comes. Try and see. Just to share with you guys how that idea came, right? It was during the drought in Australia. There was a drought. Forgot what year. Can you remember what year? Because there's a drought actually in Australia, and during that time, Professor, sorry? No, way before that. So then Professor Emeritus, oh gosh, forgot his name, but he kind of looks like Colonel Sanders, I remember. We met him, and we can actually met him. So he says, do you know, you must be from Malaysia. Then he says, you know how this competition started? So we had a drought, and then he says that everyone had a quota of using the shower when you're lining up at the dorm and everything. So you have a quota to use the shower, only 3 minutes. You can bathe faster. Imagine bathing for 3 minutes to save water. So in that time, all these great minds of PhD students or master students are lining up, and they're like, trying to very quickly wait, and the other one is bathing. So before their turn comes, they were asked to pitch your research and share with us. So that is where the idea originated from. Everybody has to pitch for like the amount of time that person is basing, and then they pitch that, and that is where this whole thing started. Actually, pretty amazing, right? And now they continue it. So I find that it's very helpful because a lot of times in life, you're gonna have to pitch for 3 minutes is all they give you. I don't know why they like the number 3, because I know of another person who had to pitch for another company to get whether they wanted to sponsor or whether they wanted to get involved. So they had only 3 minutes to pitch. Why? Maybe this is maybe they heard about UQ. UQ. So the next slide, Fariha. Let's see. So inspiration. What is your inspiration? So before I actually communicate my research, I will get in the zone. I would watch a lot of other videos about people suffering with HIV and what they're going through. Because that was my research. So what is your research about? For example, can anyone share with me what your research is about? Anybody want to share? What is your research topic? Yes. Anyone? Oh, sorry, Faiz. Stop here and there.
Okay, what? Brenda.
My research is about political efficacy.
Political efficacy? Okay, and what will you be doing regarding political efficacy?
Political efficacy is when you have the will to change the political terms. So Malaysia is going to vote in a few months or something. Do the people have that will? Can they change the government or can they change their leaders? So that political efficacy to change how your leaders are, not that people will bring their sentiments and then even if you vote or something, you want to change anything. So that's efficacy,
Yeah.
political efficacy.
Oh, very interesting.
So two, you bring them together. Then there's politics and then there's efficacy. So do you have that will? Do you believe that you can change?
That's nice. Like, what's your name, by the way? Yes. Imran from Uganda. Okay, nice. Thank you so much, Imran. I think that is a very important, timely topic. Definitely. Faiz, please. Okay, one more person. Oh, okay.
My name is Sharif.
Sharif.
Yeah. I'm interested to look at the governmental relationship between the central government and the local government in terms of services to the locals, perspective of good governance.
That's very important as well. A lot of political research here. Very, very timely.
One girl, sister, PhD, doing good. One wants to confess. Who's doing PhD, sister?
You want to share with us? Yeah, he will share with us.
I am Jamila from Sri Lanka. My research is teacher profession, Islamic ethics, how to use in teacher profession, because Sri Lanka is a minority Muslims. In Muslim schools, teaches how to moral and Islamic ethics about teacher profession.
Okay. So how to incorporate that in teaching and also in school?
Yes.
In practice and education. That's nice. Thank you for sharing that. That's interesting. Thank you all so much for sharing about your research. It's so inspiring to even hear about it, and definitely very important. So what I would do, before I actually convey my research, if I were in your shoes, I would actually check and see what exactly is important right now in Malaysia. Political efficacy, that's so interesting because we learn a lot about self-efficacy in psychology, but political efficacy is something definitely very, valuable and important? Do you really believe that you have the ability to make some kind of a conscious change in the country when you actually, some kind of a autonomy or power that you have and some effect upon the politics? So either is it going to go down learned helplessness? So learned helplessness is like, do you feel like no matter what I do, it will never change? So therefore, just don't even try. Or are you going to say, I am going to try, something can happen? So that is a very valuable, I would love to know the results of that, actually, even to know about Malaysia, right? So what I would do before communicating a research like that is to really get inspired. Look at the nation. What's happening in the nation? How do the people feel? Watch some interviews, then you get stirred up. Then maybe for the other brother, like watching actually the central government and the local government. What are the issues there? Is there a gap there? What's the gap? Is it communication gap? Is it generation gap? Is it an ideology, different kind of a mindset? What is the issue there? Then when you communicate, you can really sell your case. It's about selling our case in that. And for this sister Janila as well, knowing that why is it important for you to actually put, Islam and also the ethics in Islam in education system? Because it's not there yet, maybe I'm guessing. So she wants to incorporate that because it's very valuable. And then what's valuable about it? Is it because of the Maqasid Sharia approach? Is it which part of it do you feel like, wow, I like that part and I really need it in our country, we need it. So that part, you're gonna watch more videos on that. You're gonna read news about that, not just journal articles. Of course, you need the literature in your fingertips, but bigger than that is to go down to the grassroots level to know how your research is going to be impactful, not just for those who are accessible to body of research, but how it can be valuable to society at large, to everyone can benefit from it. Not just for those who are going to check the scholarly databases, but it's for everyone. Everyone can read about it and know about it. That's why even our rector stresses a lot on publishing in newspapers as well, actually. It's for us to have that impact on society. It's interesting to do that. Okay, the next one, Fariha. So getting in the zone, everyone, you need to have your time every day to get in the zone. If you don't allocate this time, it may never come. So how do we do that? Like my wonderful Nigerian friend, I think it's good for us that we call it the golden hours. It's called the golden hours. I'll show you a book that I love so much. They call it the 2 golden hours. If you feel 2 is too long, I can't do that, then 1 hour every day. Or if you feel like I cannot commit to that, half an hour. Come on, we can commit to Netflix series every day, some of us. So half an hour every single day. I normally recommend starting your day with just you after Salat, and then after that you have your own me time. And that time is what that's when I sit on my, I usually sit on my bed with a cup of coffee beside me, and I just go into the zone, like I'm just like on my laptop doing whatever work that I want to do at that time. It's my time to do and start my day however I want. That's a very peaceful time. If it's before it's bright, actually, it's even nicer. Now in Malaysia, what time does it get very bright? What time? 7, right? Was it earlier? 6 something. I went to Sarawak and it gets bright at 6. It's bright. Subuh is earlier. Over there. It's really like interesting. Gets dark by 6 p.m. It's earlier there. If you say you want to start your program at 9 a.m., they look at you like, what? So late. 9 a.m. for them is like 10 a.m. for us. Like for them, everything is 8 a.m. So anyway, start your work before it gets bright. And it's a very special moment at that time, because I think everything is peaceful and calm and quiet, and that is when your mind is like very much at rest, at peace, and your creative juices flow. I also find late at night helpful for me when I was a student. Can't do that now, I have a job. So, but last time, I love that, when you really have to crunch on something, sometimes just going in that very wee hours of the morning, it's like a very peaceful time. Whichever works for you. I wouldn't recommend sleeping late. If you need to have some kind of talk about your sleep, just kidding. But I would recommend that you need to have enough rest to have, be able to be inspired and really like communicate your research. Actually, it needs that. So getting in the zone every day. Why do we need it every day? Because it's consistency. If you just do one day, you just like fall out of that pattern, you know. You need it every day. When it becomes a behavior, becomes an action becomes a habit, then a habit becomes a way of life for you. But before the behavior starts, it's up here that needs to get triggered here in a good way, triggered in a good way. So your thoughts, do you really want it? How badly do you want it? How badly do you want to complete your postgraduate studies? How badly do you want to communicate your research effectively? That will determine how well you do it, your consistency. Okay, next one. So everyone, what is your greatest tool actually when you communicate your research? There are a few tools, I think. There are a few tools. Can you take a guess? Just shout it out, maybe. What is your greatest tool to communicate your research? Anybody typing in the chat? No one, right? Okay. So what is your greatest tool to communicate your research? Just guess. Sorry, Gita?
Data.
Data. Okay, thank you. Data. Okay, anything else? How do we communicate our research? What must we use? Data. Yeah, sorry. Presentation. So when you do presentation, what do you use? Your mouth, your voice, everything. Your eyes, your mouth, your voice. If you don't have eyes, you can still communicate. You can. Okay. So you use your voice is your greatest tool. The way you speak as well, and your language, and it's all of these are tools. And also the way you write is your greatest tool. A long time ago, people used to say to me that you speak better than you write, you know, Pam. When I hear your defense, now I understand what you want to do. Because I read your proposal, it's not clear. That was before now, okay? I hope it's better now. So I remember a friend reading my proposal even and saying to me, this is not PhD level. Sorry, Pam, I'm going to be honest with you. Your language is just normal. And I felt so embarrassed and angry at first. But I was like, I really appreciate that honest feedback. Only your really close friends can tell you that. Maybe your parents can tell you that too. I don't know who's gonna give you that feedback. But it was nice to hear that, you know, because it made me feel like I can do something about it now. It's like I'm on the way to improve. So I would make sure that I would really read up a lot about my topic, other research articles, and not just research articles, not just academic articles, also just any article about that topic, anything, or listen to interviews about that topic. So when you do that, you kind of like sharpen your greatest tool, which is your voice, the way you speak, the way you articulate. You know what, when they say you become who you mix with, it's kind of true. When you keep listening to a particular speaker and you keep reading a particular author's works, it becomes ingrained in you and you start to manifest that in a good way. So what you read, what you watch, what you listen to is important, actually. It really can affect us in some way. So when you do that, you need to do your homework, actually. Then your communication will be even more impactful. Okay, the next slide, Farmiha. Wow, such a support. You need friends, everyone. In PG, right? You tend to isolate. Usually what happens is you're mature. When you do PG, you're mature, and because of that, you're very independent. And it's not as common for us to ask for help sometimes because we feel like, I got it, I can do it. I'm struggling, but I'll get to it. And then you feel like, you know, it's difficult, but just wait first, I'll get it done. Or maybe you might feel like, very common is, everyone is busy, I don't want to trouble anybody. Very common. But that actually it's very important for you to have social support. In my department, there are some among us who haven't completed the PhD yet. They're actually on the way to complete it. So they have a support group, you know. They call it like have you guys heard about Pomodoro? You heard? So they have a Pomodoro group. And I love that so much. So those of you who haven't heard about it, it means tomato. A tomato in Spanish, right? So Pomodoro. Anyone know Spanish? Okay, so this guy wanted to finish up his research. His name is Francisco Cerello. I mean, this is what they say in the story. I'm not sure how accurate it is. So he wanted to finish up his research and he was in the kitchen. And then he said like, so stressed, I don't know how to have time management. And then he looks at his kitchen timer and it's in the shape of a tomato. And it's the kind that you can turn in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So he turned it to 25 minutes and he realized that 25 minutes is a good amount of time for our focus. More than that, you can drift off and you can waste more time. Just do 25 minutes, but then take a 5-minute break. Then continue back to 25 minutes, then a 5-minute break. So he said that. And he was doing that. Then he realized his productivity improved even more. So this is how the Pomodoro originated. So there are a lot of people who actually do that. I heard my friend say in New Zealand, she was over there, they call it shut up and write. Have you guys heard about it? It's called shut up and write. So 25 minutes of focus, no one's allowed to talk. We all at the state, they have a hall for that even. You all start working on your thesis right now, okay, for 25 minutes. And then there's going to be someone who's like a police who will say, okay, take a 5-minute break now. Only now you can unlock your phone. Otherwise, it's airplane mode for that 25 minutes. Now you can take a 5-minute break and check your phone, do whatever. Now, after 5 minutes is up, we're going to continue again. It's up to you how many Pomodoros you want to do. 1 Pomodoro is equivalent to 25 minutes. If you want to be in this hall, you have to comply with the rules. If not, you can, you don't have to stick on because it's very strict. It's a very strict kind of a thing, 25 minutes of focus. So you need to have that, you guys. It's nice to have it with a friend. Because when I did it with a friend, right, it was during the pandemic. I did it with another colleague and we were doing Pomodoro through Google Meet. And then, because we wanted to write articles, and then we did it for like 25 minutes and then we stopped for 5 minutes and we will just talk to each other about what we're writing. And then we will focus again. And sometimes maybe I didn't feel like continuing that much. But seeing her, because our cameras are on, you must on your camera but off the mic, otherwise you can hear it. So seeing her so focused, I'll be like, okay, I am so loud. And then, so we have like an alarm. So at the we take turns to be the police. And then I'll say, okay, time's up, that kind of thing. So it's very nice to have this kind of a support, everyone. You need to have that actually. And from UIA, when I was participating in the 3-minute thesis competition, the national level was an oopsie, Tanjung Malim. Okay. And there, a big rombongan of CPS came with me. It was wonderful actually. 1 whole bus to support UIA. Yeah, that's the kind of support. And when we went on stage, we'd be like, this whole section is UIA, CPS kind of students that they got together. And that really helped a lot, seriously. And then UIA actually won 1st place and 2nd place. 2nd place was Dr. Fatin from Kuantan campus. So we both won, and the whole stadium was like UIA, like yay! Suddenly we were just conquering that stadium. Okay, the next slide. Oh, sorry. So avoid over rehearsing. I think this is important. I think I did make this mistake, I think sometimes when you over rehearse, right, it tends to become so mundane, and then suddenly you lose focus and kind of lose interest and passion. So when you are passionate about it, it will come from your heart. It's okay if the way you communicate to one person is slightly different from how you communicate to another person. It's okay. You can change the word tiny. It's how you communicate is from your heart. Remember, it comes from your heart. I was really blessed to get the training of Dr. Zarina, Dr. Adlina, and Brother Abdul Latif, who trains the debate team. And also wonderful friends, of course, who are also giving me great, advice. I got a friend from UPSI, actually, Dr. Zarina. I remember she's from UPSI. She's supporting UIA because she's from UIA originally as well, for alumni. And she was training me. Okay, Pam, because she was helping me when I went there, and because she lives there, right? So she was training me as well. So actually having good friends who help me over the phone. Okay, tell me now, Pam, I'm not feeling it. Tell me again. So over the phone even. So it's wonderful, and I recorded myself also. So when you can see how you do it. Even CPS was so kind to help me out. So they told me, okay, Pam, come to our CPS office and just pitch over there to the students waiting for their administrative work over there in CPS office. So I did that. They must have been wondering what she's doing, but they told them now what I was doing. So it's really like the more you practice and communicate your research to people, the more fluent you become, and the more passionate you become, and the more you become like, wow, you like my research, and you kind of become like excited about it. Should we start for Azan? Okay, everyone, thank you so much. So we've come to the end of the road, I know, literally. And over here, we are now going to look at your PhD journey. Have the end in mind. Where exactly do you want to be? Can you see yourself graduating in CAC? Literally, can you see yourself receiving a scroll? Can you see the meaning behind that scroll? If you can see that, you are already on the way to achieve that. So the fact that you even came here today shows me that you are passionate about your research, first of all, and you are on your way towards that journey. So I wish you all the best, everyone. Thank you so much and all the best to you. If you have questions, you can always ask as well. Okay, pass the time to Faisal.
Questions? We want question.
Yes, thank you.
You want? Yeah. No. Question no. You have question? Oh, you have question? You have question? You have question or not? You. Yeah. Oh no, okay, never mind. Okay.
So, if we want to join for the 3-minute competition, how can we join in that kind of competition in future? Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's very good. It's so nice to hear that question, right? So usually every year there will be several names that your faculty will send to CPS to compete. So you are from faculty of? Usuluddin, so KRKHS, okay. So I think the person you can speak to would be Dr. Adlina. So you will actually be talking to her and you will be asking a bit, because what will happen is it's every year kind of a selection. So it's not throughout the whole year, you know. So usually CPS will ask for the timing would be around June. Is it? April every year. And usually for 3 minutes, I would recommend for PhD because they're quite strict about that and everything. But for masters, you can already watch how they do. So next time it can be your turn. So you would approach your Deputy Dean of Research in your faculty and you can ask them when it's April that you want to actually be interested to join. I think Dr. Hasina, everyone will be so happy. I mean, in your faculty, they'll be so happy too, because we need people to participate. Seriously, we do. And we will train you. And one of them will train in the KRKHS. So we actually are so happy. And then if CPS wants me to train others also, I'm so happy to do that as well. We did that before last time. Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone else?
Very nice.
Sold. Okay, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adlina, for that extensive presentation. We will have more, inshallah, series of workshops and perhaps talks with Dr. Adlina in the future to talk about this, about improving your communication skills. Now, I think like that's all. It's already 1:09. Basically, like this afternoon, please, this same crowd, please be here latest by 2:15, please, because we have Tan Sri, we have Professor Emeritus to come give us a talk about Islamization of knowledge, and because of that, we can't afford to have an empty hall when he comes. So please be here back by the latest 2:15, yeah, 2:15. So the lunch, like usual, the lunch is there, and besides, this afternoon slot would be the last slot for Taaruf week. And because of that, hype up. All right. Okay. I think that's all. Those of you online, please also be online by 2 or 2:15, please. All right. Okay. That's all. Everyone, lunch is already prepared outside. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.